All right, guys. Apologies for the late start today. Not that late, only a couple minutes. I'm gonna let a few people join. Per usual, make sure you give it a thumbs up on your way in, and I'll give you guys some shout outs. We'll get started. This is gonna be shorter than yesterday, but I kept my promise. This is pretty much what am I on 4 day stretch? With any luck, I'll be able to do some tomorrow. I am more busy tomorrow, but I mean, if I could just do this live stream thing, it seems like it's working pretty well in terms of just live on the spot versus pre-recorded. Then that's what I think I'll do. You guys know I've experimented with all kind of content on this channel, man on the street, live shows where I have guests on, pre-recorded, bunch of different things. This seems to be working. I'll just keep doing what works, but I do like the pre-recorded stuff too. If I can get back into that, that's fun. You guys know I used to do that a lot from my work vehicle. But nonetheless, make sure you guys give it a thumbs up, like, share. If you're new, subscribe. Subscribe, but also make sure you hit the notification so you don't miss an upload or live stream. Okay, shout outs and then we'll get going. Ghost Chamber, Kevin, Daniel, Reckless One, the kids, Southern Cross says, yay, Mike, love your channel. Thank you for your support. Dragon Cloud in the building. Make sure you give it a thumbs up, Dragon Cloud and everybody else. Okay, cool. We got a little crowd. All right. So yesterday, at the beginning of my stream yesterday, I played what was just a small clip of Governor Ron DeSantis clapping back at the White House for all of the scrutiny he's under for basically not being a vicious tyrant, locking down the state and forcing needles into arms. That's what they're upset about. But I played a small little snippet of it. I don't know why I didn't think to just find the full clip of DeSantis just laying into Biden. But nonetheless, I saw it yesterday or this morning, actually. I saw the full clip of everything. And it was just, like I said, every single governor in the country, if they stand on the side of liberty, should have that type of rhetoric towards tyrants, period. Anything less is unacceptable, in my opinion. You've got to be forceful. You've got to have just a straight up, like, staunch reaction to a tyrant trying to tell you how to govern your state, which 9 times out of 10, they're telling you to crush liberty. So remember I said, like, yes, there is a role for government to step in on behalf of individuals. The government should be siding with the smallest minority in the world, and that is the individual, not a business, not a big corporation, an individual. If an individual's rights are being trampled on, that is when the government should step in. So anyway, I want to play the full thing, and it was obviously a long press conference, but I want to play the whole part where he's just laying into this man. It's just too good. It's too good. If your governor's not talking like this, you might need a new governor.
Joe Biden has taken to himself to try to single out Florida over COVID. This is a guy who ran for president saying he was going to, quote, shut down the virus. And what has he done? He's imported more virus from around the world by having a wide open southern border. You have hundreds of thousands of people pouring across every month. And it's not just from Mexico. In fact, it's rarely from Mexico. You have over 100 different countries where people are pouring through. Not only are they letting them through, they're then farming them out all across our communities across this country, putting them on planes, putting them on buses. Do you think they're being worried about COVID for that? Of course not. So he's facilitating. Who knows what new variants are out there? But I can tell you, whatever variants are around the world, they're coming across that southern border. And so he's not shutting down the virus. He's helping to facilitate it in our country. And what is his big solution? What is he so upset about Florida? His solution is he wants to have the government force kindergartners to wear masks in school. He doesn't believe the parents should have a say in that. He thinks that should be a decision for the government. Well, I can tell you in Florida, the parents are going to be the ones in charge of that decision.
Whew. Torch. That's not even the best part. The best part is coming. I had to interject this one point. The media is going to say, he's sending out a dog whistle to all the racists in America when he says Joe Biden's importing the virus. What he means by virus is black and brown people crossing the southern border. That's how the propaganda will work. Just wanted to throw that in. You guys know, we all know it's coming. He really means brown people. That's what they're going to say.
And one of the major medical people in his administration just recently told parents that they should be wearing masks at home when they're around their own children. This is insane. Joe Biden also believes that vaccination should be mandated by force of government and that you should have to show vaccination status to be able to participate in society. Now, Florida, we're very proud of our Seniors First strategy. You look at the mortality in nursing homes among seniors, it's declined dramatically. But we said from the beginning, we're going to make it available for all, but we're not going to mandate it on anybody. That's ultimately an individual's choice to be able to do it. Biden, he rejects science because he denies the fact that people that recover from COVID have long-lasting immunity. And that's been proven time and time again, and the data is very clear. So his vision is, just like in New York City, restaurants should ban young kids from being able to go in because they're not eligible for vaccination, and law-abiding citizens have to produce proof of their medical records just to go to the gym or attend an event or just to participate in everyday society. He wants that, but yet if you want to vote, he thinks it's too much of a burden to show a picture ID when you're voting. So no voter ID, but have to show your medical papers just to be able to live an everyday life. Give me a break.
Calling out the
so
hypocrisy.
I think the question is we can either have a free society or we can have a biomedical security state. And I can tell you, Florida, we're a free state. People are going to be free to choose to make their own decisions about themselves, about their families, about their kids' education, and about putting food on the table. And Joe Biden suggests that if you don't do lockdown policies, then you should, quote, get out of the way. But let me tell you this. If you're coming after the rights of parents in Florida, I'm standing in your way. I'm not going to let you get away with it. If you're trying to deny kids a proper in-person education, I'm going to stand in your way, and I'm going to stand up for the kids in Florida. If you're trying to restrict people, impose mandates, if you're trying to ruin their jobs and their livelihoods and their small business, if you are trying to lock people down, I am standing in your way, and I'm standing for the people of Florida. So why don't you do your job? Why don't you get this border secure? And until you do that, I don't want to hear a blip about COVID from you. Thank you.
Man, I wish I would have played that whole thing yesterday. I don't know what I was thinking, but that was just beautifully stated. There's no better way to clap back at all of this criticism. This is how you know he's going to be effective if he does make it to the White House, or if he decides to run, because I think he would make it in 2028 or whenever he decides to run, because he can stand up to the scrutiny. He doesn't buckle under the pressure. Everybody knows that they're targeting this man because he's a Republican and because he's not doing all of the things that the White House wants him to do. He doesn't want to lock down the state. He believes in freedom. And it's not just his principled stance on, your personal right to choose and all of that good stuff. It's the fact that he says, I'm going to stand in your way if you try to take away the rights of citizens. It's the rhetoric. The rhetoric for me gets it done, right? That's why I say, if Greg Abbott's not doing this, if other governors aren't stepping up and using that type of rhetoric, then it just looks like they're passive, or they're just pushing back in a way that seems like, yeah, we're just going to go against Biden. We're just going to do this. We're going to put up these walls. You need to be out in front of the cameras doing what he's doing. And you know what? He's leading the way. So if there are governors out there that have a spine, they'll hopefully follow suit, especially if they want to boost their profile. I mean, if you have presidential aspirations, or you just want to be a bigger name, then you should be out in front of the cameras like that. I mean, you see Cuomo, even in light of all of his swirling chaos and controversy and scandals and all that, he's still in front of the camera talking tough. It's on the opposite side of DeSantis, right? It's the polar opposite. But at least he's out in front of cameras, and saying what he thinks is true and pushing all the agenda or whatever. But it's that type of personality that gets it done. So hopefully, other states will follow suit. I mean, they follow the leadership of Florida when it comes to ending lockdowns and mask mandates, and DeSantis did kind of sort of lock down the state last year early in the pandemic, and I actually went out and protested against that because I don't think we should lock down at all. But he opened back up, and after he opened the state up, he said, after looking at the data, we probably didn't need to lock down as strict as we did, and we're never doing it again. We're not going to do this in the future. And he's standing by his word, despite all of the pressure mounting. He could have buckled under that pressure and said, all right, this is too much. I'm sick of the media hit pieces. I'm tired of the federal government looking at me and criticizing my approach to this. He stood tall and doubled down on his stance that we're not locking down again. We're not going to mask up elementary school students. Parents get to choose. Parents get to decide what's right for their kids. I know it's an amazing concept, right? That you get to decide what's best for your child. You get to decide what's best for your body. You get to meet with your doctor instead of listening to flip-flopping Fauci, right? That's his stance. That's this foreign concept now. That's what's so controversial. But he's standing his ground, and you love to see it. Any governor that's not doing this is falling short, in my opinion. That's just the way it is. He has set the tone for this country. He set the tone for what it means to have effective, strong leadership. And we'll see where it goes. I mean, the better that he looks in the spotlight and in situations like this where they basically hit him with pandemic 2.0, right? It's like, oh my gosh, the Delta variant is just shredding Florida. They hit a record number of cases for the entire year that COVID's been going on, right? He's proven himself twice now. Now, the stronger he looks, the more it looks like, wow, he might actually run in 2024. I'm praying that doesn't happen. Next time I see him, I have a feeling I'll see him again. I'll be like, man, we don't want you in the White House until 2028. And I'll present it in a way that hopefully he'll get what I'm saying. Like, hey man, just we need you to stay put for 4 more years, set up Florida for the long haul. Let's get somebody behind you that can take over. We don't know if he were to run in 2024, who would run after him? Like, who would take his spot? I would think that that seat, if he vacates that seat, then it'd be pretty vulnerable because I don't know who would come up behind him. So yeah, hopefully 2028 is when he decides to run and not 2024. But even before we get to that, I mean, we got to clean up our elections, or it's not even going to matter. But I do know that if he does run for re-election in Florida, I think he will coast to victory. There's nothing that they could throw at him. You notice how last year they threw this pandemic at Trump and derailed his economy, did everything that they needed to do. That's why I say that pandemic, which is supposedly natural, was so strategically timed and just happened to line up with the entire Democrat agenda. Crazy coincidence. But anyway, I don't think they can do that for DeSantis. I mean, what are they going to throw at him? Natural disasters. He's already dealt with some hurricanes. They're looking for anything that they can smear him and say, look how bad his leadership is. They're even going so far because these liars are so desperate to make him look bad. They're out there saying he is head to head with Nikki Fried in the polls, and he's losing to Charlie Crist head to head in the polls in Florida for governor. And nobody in their right mind believes that. Democrats in the state don't believe that. Conservatives don't believe that in the state. Nobody actually believes that. It's them just trying to will it into existence. They want him to lose so bad that they're out there just lying. Oh, he's losing head to head. Any Democrat that ran against DeSantis right now would defeat him. Yeah, right. Especially after the way that he just torched Biden, whose popularity is going down, right? It's just, you can't make this stuff up. These people are such dishonest, wicked, evil, desperate liars. So, all right, now let's move on to the next thing. Alberta. I didn't know about this until yesterday, mid live stream. Somebody pointed it out to me. And Alberta, Canada has completely rejected all of this COVID narrative, all of the nonsense, all of the lockdowns. They have opened up their province, I guess is what you call it in Canada, province. They've opened it up completely. I think they still have some measures in place as far as maybe testing and vaccinations, and that's totally fine, right? I'm not denying the existence of a virus, but outside of that, they're not re-implementing lockdowns. They're not even using the type of rhetoric that's being used here, that doom and gloom, like we're headed for the dark times, or what was Biden said, dark winter. They use all that like doom and gloom narrative and rhetoric. They're not using that in Canada, of all places. Alberta, Canada. I don't know anything about the politics of Canada. I just assume it was further left than California. But for whatever reason, Alberta seems to be getting it right. Check this out. And then also, just listen to the opponents of this. This is going to make you guys laugh, probably cringe a little bit too. But it's such a just, you'll bang your head against the wall when you listen to the way that these counter protesters, or not counter protesters, people protesting the ending of COVID restrictions in their city or province, the way that they're sounding is like just totally opposite of what is real and true. So check it out.
You are choosing to put people at risk by reducing reasonable protections.
That's the message shared by those gathering in downtown Calgary and at the legislature in Edmonton on Saturday. Hundreds calling on Alberta's government to reverse its decision to change the rules around COVID-19.
Starting on August 16th, we will no longer recommend that all those with mild symptoms seek testing. Isolation will no longer be universally, legally required if you test positive for COVID-19.
For Natasha Brubaker, whose child is considered high risk for the virus, these decisions hit close to home.
Our children are, by definition, vulnerable. They have no option to protect themselves beyond these health measures and the decisions made by the adults they are counting on to care for them.
Dr. Joe Vipond, an emergency room physician, is going further, saying the rolling back of restrictions goes against Canadians' right to life, liberty, and security.
I call on the Attorney General of Canada to reach out to our Premier and say that you are not allowed to violate the charter rights of 4.5 million Albertans.
In response to the pushback, Alberta's health minister pointed to the rise in those vaccinated, even though Alberta is below the national rate in both first and second doses.
We're trying to do it in a thoughtful way, in a staged approach based on really important metrics and milestones that were developed that are based on the science and based on the data.
For Dr. Joe Vipond, that response is not enough. He's calling on Alberta's Chief Medical Officer of Health.
Whatever, man. This activist
quite evident
doctor.
now that public health is not actually putting in policies to protect the health of the public. I think this is a travesty, and I think she should resign.
For those like Natasha Brubaker, they just want to see the province at least maintain the status quo when it comes to testing, tracing, and isolation.
I'm not suggesting a lockdown or reducing store capacity or closing restaurants. I am asking for reasonable steps to be taken to protect them and to prevent illness, deaths, and possibly having to close our schools again.
Michael King, Global News.
Bro, what is that? Do you hear the guy, that doctor? He said that them not implementing restrictions violates liberty. The government taking a hands-off approach violates freedom and liberty. That's what I mean by total inversion of what's true. Why isn't the government forcing me to do things? Remember when I went to the beach? Why I don't understand. I want to see a case study on the cognitive dissonance and the mentality of people who think like this. The guy on the beach that I interviewed, he's like, yeah, I'm hesitant to take the vaccine. I'm kind of afraid to do it, but I think the government should force people to do it. So he's afraid to do it. He's hesitant, but he thinks that the government should step in and mandate that he takes it. Does that make any sense whatsoever? These people here in Canada, they're talking about, they feel like their rights and their freedoms are being violated by the government not forcing them to lock down, to put on masks, and to vaccinate. It makes zero sense. And yet there are people in Canada, in the United States, in the UK, everywhere in the Western world that think this way. They're mad at the governor of Florida because he won't force me to mask up and put on or take the shot. They're mad that the government won't force them and me to make decisions for my body. The government is giving you maximum liberty by saying, hey, you know what's best for you. You know what's best for your kids, for your household. Make responsible decisions. And hey, if you don't make responsible decisions, or the decisions you make lead to something else that you didn't anticipate, those are natural consequences. You learn from it, you move on. You got to trust your constituents that they're smart enough to govern their own affairs. And that is a fundamental difference between liberal and conservative. Conservatives believe you are smart enough to do it on your own. You don't need an assembly of people who don't even know you telling you what's best for you. That's the simplest way to put it. But that's apparently controversial, and that's, Neanderthal thinking and whatever else they use to smear that very, very practical and real and popular idea. That's why they want to censor people online, because those kind of ideas not only make sense, they're popular. They know that will spread. The freedom variant, the mentality of being a free, sovereign person is empowering, and it spreads. It's infectious. That's what we need to spread. We need the liberty variant to spread. We need people talking like this. We need people talking like DeSantis. We need bold action. We need strong leadership. And we need people that are going to be courageous enough to open up, because this virus isn't going anywhere. And some people would rather just be defeated. Some people just want to roll over and tuck their tail up like some timid puppy, just like, oh no, I guess it's over. COVID's here. I guess I just change everything. I exist in a different realm now. Whichever direction the wind blows, I just go. I don't have any resistance at all. And like I said, like I've been saying, you're free to do that. I think it's a pitiful existence personally, but you are free to do that. Just stay as far away from me with that energy as possible. I don't want to be anywhere near a tyrant. I don't want to be anywhere near someone who just panics constantly, and they just have their entire aura is just a vibration of fear. I want nothing to do with it personally, because it's toxic, it's infectious, and there's no place for it. Somebody said, these fools are so stupid. If you're afraid of COVID, stay your ass in the house and away from people. I mean, that doesn't just go for COVID. That goes for everything, man. If there's some outbreak of, I don't know, I'm just thinking of something random. If strep throat were just spreading all over your community, I mean, you're typically not going to die from it, but it's uncomfortable. It makes you miserable. If you knew that was spreading, maybe you stay home for a little bit. Maybe you do some other things, and I can't go into it because then YouTube will say, you're spreading medical misinformation, you're giving medical advice, but you know what I mean. There's certain things you can do that make sense for you to protect yourself against everything that might be out there, because it's always going to be out there. Germs have always existed. They're always going to exist. The body is always fighting off viruses constantly. I mean, this is stuff that was common sense for all of my life until now. Now all that common sense just goes completely out of the window. Now you need big pharma's medicine. That's the only way to truly be healthy, is you need big pharma. Big pharma equals health. Pharmaceutical injections equal health. That's basically what they're telling us. It's not like eyelashes, nose hairs, saliva, all the things that your body naturally produces to ward off pollutants, toxins, etc. None of that even matters anymore unless you are listening to the CDC and Fauci. You aren't a healthy person. And if you say anything otherwise, you're probably some racist right-winger that's, spreading misinformation. You're a COVIDiot, in other words. So, yeah. So props to Alberta, shout out to them. And let's see if we have a ripple effect, if that happens in other provinces of Canada. All right, moving right along. Obama has reportedly scaled back his 60th birthday party due to Delta surge, because when they planned this party and started sending out invites, they weren't aware that there was a spreading Delta variant. They weren't aware of that, apparently. So they're scaling it back. That's because the backlash and the criticism was insurmountable. So they buckled. But come on, man. They're not dumb. They knew exactly what this looked like. They knew that the optics of that was terrible. They knew the timing was terrible. And they knew how it was going to look. They knew how bad that was going to look. But they flaunted it anyway. It's like, how much is the public going to take of these elites flaunting their wealth, flaunting their power, while they wag their fingers in your face for you wanting to gather with a small crowd of people? Remember, you were supposed to ask permission to gather on the 4th of July. Biden said, if we do what we need to do, we can have cookouts on the 4th of July. I mean, first of all, they just completely reject the idea that you're a free person and you can do whatever the hell you want to do. If you want to have 10 people over and barbecue, you can do that. Who's going to stop you? It's not illegal. But just the whole arrogance of do what we say, but we're not going to do it. Do what we say, ignore what we're doing. We're not even trying to be subtle. We're out in the open. We're bold. We're flying to DC with beer and no masks. These Texas Democrats, we're just doing it in your face. We're not even trying to be subtle about our hypocrisy. It's like they want you to know. That's why I said they're making a mockery of you. They're making a mockery of you as they meet in Martha's Vineyard, a white area. I thought white people were hunting down blacks. I'm surprised they haven't surrounded Martha's Vineyard, arrested the Obama daughters, held them at gunpoint. You know, I'm surprised that didn't happen because, I mean, they're black people and that's how it works, right? All black people are experiencing racism. Every time they leave their house, they got to worry about being hunted down. So they hold this big party, or plan to, in white Martha's Vineyard out in the Atlantic Ocean where sea levels are supposedly rising. And they were going to meet by the 1,000. I think they had 500 invitees and 200 staff during COVID outbreak, you know? And, you know, it's just the hypocrisy. They don't care. They don't care that you know. They mock you to your face. They put it right there in plain sight. And they say, yeah, what are you going to do about it? You need to lock down, peasant. Go away, peasant. Lock down. But we're good. And then they're going to tell you that you can't do something. Michelle Obama, when she gave that just Debbie Downer speech to the graduating class, it was a commencement speech. I don't remember which university it was, but she sat up there and told all those students that no matter how hard they work, white people are going to stop them from succeeding. That's what she said. And you know, that's kind of a common theme amongst the rich and powerful elites. They tell you how hard it is on them. They're so stressed out because how horrible the country is. And then they tell you, you can't do it. It's going to be hard for you. And the way that they lie, man. I mean, just think about this. Michelle Obama lying. She lied so hard. He, she, whatever. Lied about worrying about her daughters being profiled by the police. You know, the daughters of the first family who have Secret Service protection for life, they're worried about police brutality and being racially profiled as they drive around because nobody knows what those girls look like. I'm sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah, there's a suspicious Mercedes driving through my neighborhood, and if there's this black girl in there, I know the Obamas live here because how could you not know that they live in your area? Yeah, officer, could you send someone? Because there are some suspicious looking black girls driving around. Come on, man. Come on. That works on the simpletons who watch Rachel Maddow every night. That works on the soft-headed, feeble-minded people who buy all of the propaganda, buy all of the lies, and help to beg for the chains of their own enslavement. Not too dissimilar to the folks I just showed you in Canada. They're like, we're not free because the government is taking a hands-off approach to COVID. They're violating my liberty by not forcing me to do stuff. Oh man, nothing's impossible in clown world, is it? It's not. Let me give you guys some shout outs here. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Make sure you guys are giving this a thumbs up, please. Thumbs up, thumbs up. If you're watching, thumbs up. Share it if you can. If you're new, sub and hit the notification bell. DM says she hates whites and hates America. I see a lot of Big Mike in the comments. I'm not even going to go there, man, because here's the thing. Like I said, I have no proof of this. I just know what I've seen. I know what Joan Rivers said. I know about what Obama said when he said Michael and I on more than one occasion. I mean, I saw the Ellen DeGeneres dance thing. I saw photos. I mean, there's a lot of smoke there for it to not be fire, but it's not worth going down that rabbit hole because I zero proof that is what it is. So I just try to stay away, but I just think it's funny that it almost feels like an inside joke amongst people where if you know, you know. But yeah. Somebody said, warning, communism is coming. Communism is already here, man. I mean, that eviction moratorium where they just circumvented SCOTUS, completely illegal, but they just did it anyway. They declare that, housing is a human right and that, private property isn't a thing. You don't get to have private property. We get to use a virus, this omnipresent threat, as means to justify why you don't get to have governance over your property. That's where we are. So yeah. Somebody said Mike believes there's a virus. There is no virus. I mean, there's something going on. There's something going on. I don't even want to really get into that. I think I just got a super chat that came in. Oh, Steve says, much love. Aloha, brother, from Oahu, Hawaii. Please never stop bringing and speaking the truth. Have a beautiful day, brother. Appreciate you for tuning in today. What time is it in Hawaii? It's got to be like 9 a.m. or something. It's early in the morning out there. I know they're like 6 hours behind Florida or something like that. Someone said America ended with the Federal Reserve, 1913. I was thinking about this last night before I went to bed. I was thinking I don't know if America can actually survive this. I really don't, because the assault on the sovereignty, freedom, the Constitution, the founding documents of this country, that is accelerated like tenfold. They have gone full throttle in terms of just eroding everything that upholds this country. They've attacked, infiltrated, subverted, undermined every single institutional aspect of our society. Education, media, none of these things are trustworthy anymore. Law enforcement, the medical industry. I mean, they're going around the Supreme Court to extend the eviction moratorium. They found a little loophole. It's hard to imagine that we will still have a country come 2024. All the while they've thrown open the borders. Anybody in the world can come here and get all of this free stuff. I mean, we've basically turned our country into an economic magnet for people coming from other nations. And, Governor DeSantis brings up a great point that the virus is coming across the border. Different strains of the virus, different mutations are coming across the border. So they want us to take it all seriously, but how can you when they don't take it seriously? They don't care about your health. They don't care about your freedom. They don't care about your safety. They don't care about you. They don't like you. They hate you. They want to destroy you. And they're coming after your children. They've all but said it. Children are the future. They want to lower the voting age to 16. Why? Because people who are 16 don't have real world experience, so they're more likely to be manipulated emotionally, psychologically, to support people who want to destroy the country. So they just got this factory farm called public education where they're just churning out people who will vote for their own demise, essentially. And, think about how many people who are in high school right now that are going to be eligible to vote in 2024. There are people in high school right now that are going to be old enough to vote in 2024, and they're just being bombarded with propaganda that America sucks, irredeemably racist. We need all this structural change. They're not learning the values of why this country is even desirable to begin with. They don't know that. All they know is the country exists, and as it exists today, it sucks, and it needs to be destroyed. So those people are going to be voting in 2024. So it's hard to imagine that America can survive this time that we're in. But I still have faith. God wins in the end. This reign of terror from the enemy, it has an expiration date. We just don't know when. Which came first, the vaccine or the virus? That's a good question. Janet says, keep speaking the truth, Mike. Love you. Love you too. Thank you for your support. Thank you for tuning in today. We got a little bit smaller of a crowd than we had yesterday, but that's okay. It's still pretty decent sized crowd. More than I was expecting, actually. Stacy says, that is why they are letting all the illegals in so they can vote. Exactly. And the thing is, they don't even hide it. They talk about it. They talk about demographic changes. They celebrate that as a win. Like, oh, we're going to flip Texas blue. They're going to try to change Florida. But the thing is, Florida is now a stronghold. I really do believe Florida is red for the long haul. Florida's only gotten more red. But places like Texas are pretty vulnerable, in my opinion. I think they're pretty vulnerable. I think that the leadership is not as strong as it can be. And there's a lot of people coming over from California. There's a lot of people coming from the southern border. I mean, think about the proximity. Texas sits right on the border. So people coming in across the southern border could all help to change the election, change the landscape, especially now that you have Biden in the White House. That makes it easier for him to campaign in 2024, whether it's him or Kamala or whoever else. Whoever's running in 2024 on the Democrat side, they're going to use the policies they're putting in place now, what they're forcing through now, as a catapult to reelection. Like, hey, if you want this to continue, you need to reelect us as you cross the border. Let me see. Someone said Trump won all states. I mean, I'm not even going to get into it, man. I honestly don't want to relive what happened in November because it makes me so angry because I know it happened. I watched it happen. You watched it happen. So talking about it is pointless because nothing will change. I don't feel that anything will change as it relates to that. I think there's a ground up approach that we're seeing happen right now, and we'll see it develop and take shape as we move towards midterms. But as far as just what happened in the election, I mean, unfortunately, it is what it is because Biden is in the White House. That's a fact. Whether people like it or not, that's the reality. That's what's true. It's being audited. Changes are occurring. Well, I mean, what changes? Unless the what's going on in the White House changes, the audits don't mean anything. That doesn't change anything. It's not going to change. It's not going to affect what is right now. It could change, the future. Like I said, we just need the best possible election process. I mean, African countries require an ID to vote. I assume that's racist too, right? We're the only country where it's like the opposite of common sense as it relates to elections. Like, oh yeah, you are who you say you are. We trust you. We don't need to verify that or anything. Here's your ballot. It's just like, man, one person votes, one person casts one vote using their ID, paper ballot, hand counted, no machines. I don't care how long it takes. Manual audit by a human being, a person, matching it up against the ballot. Like, Common sense stuff. No vote by mail unless it's absentee, unless you're like overseas or something like that, unless you have to request that ballot, has to be verified. No, just mass mail in, just none of that. I think that's the only way to have a fair and transparent election. Just saying. What else we got here, guys? What else? I pretty much covered everything. We're at 40 minutes. We got 199 people watching now. That's great. Please give it a thumbs up too, guys. Let me get these hypocrites off my screen here. We go to Twitter because Twitter is usually where I can find whatever happens to be trending. Alex Jones is trending right now. NIH-funded researchers sought aborted minorities for organ harvesting. This is Jack Posobiec. Oh, gosh. I don't even know if I can dive into that right now. That's wild. But, Jack Posobiec, he has the receipts. That's all I'm going to say. I might have to look into that. Super chat from RSBN moderator. Love and support for you and hugs for that sweet baby from Mod Mom Seals. Hey, Mod Mom, thank you so much for discovering me. I would not be where I am with RSBN without you. So thank you. Shout out to Mod Mom. Everybody give Mod Mom a shout out. RSBN moderator. She told her son, CEO, hey, you got to get this guy, Mike, from Florida. He's pretty good. And it just so happened to work out. Maybe I'll see you in Alabama, Mod Mom. Maybe I'll see you at the rally. I don't know. Hopefully you'll be there. Hopefully the whole family comes out. I think that would be great to get the Seals family out and, come into the rally. I mean, what are the odds? Trump holds a rally in Alabama. I would love to see him hold rallies in super red states like Alabama and Tennessee. That'd be great. But the fact that he's coming to Alabama is pretty great. So again, somebody asked, when is that rally? It is Saturday, the 21st, and it's in Coleman, Alabama. So yes, I will be at that rally. The crew will be covering it. You guys will tune in, hopefully. What else we got? And please feel free to put something in the chat if there's a topic you want me to cover or you want me to give my 2 cents on. You just have to @ me in the chat. That's the only way I'll really see it. Otherwise, I'd have to read every single comment. There was something. Oh, here's the topic. Hold on. Let me pull this up. I don't know if you guys heard of the grocery store Kroger boycott was trending this morning because of what's her name? Elaine Chao. Elaine Chao joined Kroger's company board. She got some position within Kroger. So naturally, everybody has to boycott Kroger and get their groceries somewhere else because this Trump derangement syndrome, really just conservative derangement syndrome. Now, if you don't know who Elaine Chao is, she's the wife of Mitch McConnell. And she worked in the Trump administration. But because she now works with Kroger, you got to buy your groceries somewhere else. And you're super duper principled for doing that. This is not healthy, by the way. Not that I need to tell you guys that. You guys know that. It's not healthy to boycott where you get your groceries because someone works there with political views you don't like. Get over it. The world's full of people who disagree with you. The sooner you accept that, the happier you'll be. But yeah, liberals demand Kroger boycott after Elaine Chao joins company board. Translation, only people who share my political beliefs should be working at a grocery chain. How insane is that? This is why I say, I don't know if we somehow survive this Biden residency, if we somehow survive that, how can we move forward? Will we ever move past this hyper-partisan reality we're in where you're mad that your grocery store doesn't lean left? They hired somebody you don't like because she happened to work for a president you didn't like. I mean, goodness gracious, like grow your own food then. I mean, you change your own tires. Learn how to do your own plumbing because every business is going to have people working there that you don't get along with. people that you don't like, people that have different political views than you. And the sooner you learn to accept that, the better off you'll be. But it's sad. That's sad that this is what's trending. At least I don't think it's what's actually trending. I think Twitter likes to keep people in echo chambers. I think social media plays a big role in this partisan, hyper-partisan divisiveness, because there's no way this is actually what's trending in the world. Matter of fact, if you go to what's trending on Twitter, this is what's actually trending in the world. Worldwide, Messi, Lionel Messi. We're talking about some soccer thing. Random things. Kirk Cousins, the Vikings quarterback. That's trending. It's not this hyper-partisan stuff that is on the For You section. The For You section, just so you know, it's showing you stuff that is based on your search results, based on things that you like. And 9 times out of 10, it's going to be stuff to lock you further into your echo chamber. But I just thought that was funny that showed up for me. Like, hey, look, people are boycotting Kroger because somebody from the right-wing extreme just got hired, not to be a grocery clerk, not to be somebody you see at the actual store, but somebody on the executive board, somebody way up in the higher realms of corporate. Does that mean like you're going to get Trump cereal on the store shelves now? Is that what they're afraid of? This Trump derangement syndrome? She knows Donald Trump. She shook hands with Donald Trump. That means I can't go anywhere she went. Psychotic, man. It's psychotic. Okay, I could just continue ranting or, just casually saying all this stuff, or I could read some more comments and then wrap up because we are about 45 minutes in. Let's see. Mitch is a little BI, somebody said. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not standing up for Mitch McConnell. I think Mitch McConnell is useless in Congress. Absolutely. But still, to the left, he might as well be Lucifer. They hate him. That's what's so funny. The left hates everybody that's on the right. They don't like any Republican, no matter how milquetoast they are, no matter how weak and soft and spineless they are. The left hates them. Meanwhile, people who are actually conservative are like, we don't support Mitch McConnell. The Lindsey Grahams of the world. I mean, they're weak. The rhinos, the neocons. Think about that. Like, there are people on the left that are like, Mitt Romney's such a right-wing bigot. I'm like, Mitt Romney marched with BLM last summer. No thanks. That guy is such a phony. Mike, I hope I can meet you and shake your hand someday, says Nikki Silvers. Well, hopefully you come to one of these rallies. I think that by next year, I think that Donald's going to be out there as if he's running again. I really do. I think especially the closer and closer we get to the November 2022 midterms, I think he's going to be holding 2 rallies a day. I mean, he should. Absolutely. He should be out there campaigning for all of the primary opponents of Lisa Murkowski, which I'm putting out there right now. I hope I get to go to Alaska when he goes out there to rally, because he did say he would do that. But Lisa Murkowski, Mitt Romney, Mitch McConnell, Liz Cheney, Adam Kinzinger, whatever his name is, he's a fraud. He's a rhino. I mean, come on. Someone said, love DeSantis. Mitt is a joke. Rant on, man. Rant on, somebody said. I mean, I will rant as long as I have an audience, but I mean, that could mean that I have people, because people come and go from the stream. So it would be a 24-hour live stream-a-thon. I might have to try to do that one time. Just see how long I can go. Just make it like a marathon. How long can I live stream? How long can I talk? And just really, it's less about me hearing myself talking, more about just interacting with the chat. I really enjoy this. That's why I should do way more. Keep the chat on the screen, talk to people, answer questions. I didn't see too many people at me, so I assume you guys don't have too many questions. But yeah, man, the vaccine passport just ain't gonna work for me. It's just not. I don't even know how to get an ID, you guys. It's really hard. I had to have like special help. I have a whole team of people. You can't see them. They're not on camera. They're the ones that actually help me get online, because I don't know how to get online. I don't know how to use the internet. it's crazy. I mean, but I don't think the vaccine passport is going to work for me. But the way that they invert reality and act like they're doing you a favor by giving you freedom if you do what they say is laughable. It's laughable that people actually gobble it up and say, if you don't restrict my freedom, I'm not free. I need you to give me permission to be free because I wouldn't be free otherwise. I don't have rights unless government grants them to me. And what I'm referring to is Bill de Blasio talking about his stupid little key to New York, key to NYC. He's saying there's a lot of amazing things in the city that you will be free to access. I mean, we're talking freedom here. He announces freedom as if he gets to decide that you're free. No, freedom pre-existed you, buddy. I was free the minute I was born. But he still says that this key to NYC is what he's granting people access to. And that's freedom. So freedom, if you do exactly what he says, which is get this procedure. And people are like, yes, Bill de Blasio, he's such a great mayor. I know there's not many people in New York City who think that because they all kind of despise him. But he's getting praise around the country for sure. Definitely in the media because, oh, Mr. de Blasio, he's the first mayor to take bold action to end this COVID pandemic by restricting freedom and telling people, hey, here's your barrier to entry. Get this jab. That's your way to freedom. Your way to freedom is doing what the government tells you to do. That's how you become free, is listening to Big Daddy government. Tell you guys, inversion of reality, opposite of what is true. Literally the opposite of what is true. Mike Nificent, do you know about the Act of 1871? I don't know. It doesn't sound familiar. Should it, though? It's possible that I do. Jog my memory. Tell me something. Caesar says, you hear the reporter that asked Psaki if Biden should be investigated like Cuomo? I did not hear it. But I mean, it's kind of a dumb question to ask. Is if they're asking Psaki that, is she supposed to say yes? I mean, that's just way too obvious of a trap question. But it's funny nonetheless. Twilight Zone we live in. Remember, nothing is impossible in Clown World, you guys. None of this is impossible. Anything can happen in Clown World, including begging to be governed harder. Adults, grown people, saying that their liberty is at stake because of a hands-off approach. It wouldn't matter. Like I said in the beginning, it would not matter if DeSantis today flipped the script and said, we're implementing a mask mandate in Florida. I would still live my life the way I've always lived it. Not even DeSantis doing exactly what the left wants him to do would change a thing about what I do. So what difference does it make whether he's a tyrant or not? It doesn't matter to free people. That's the whole point. But yet they're mad. Why isn't he forcing people? Like I said, check out that Mark Dice video. That is terrifying. Mark Dice went out to the beach with a fake, what is it? What do you sign? The freaking petition. He walked around with a petition saying that, they're going to start arresting the unvaccinated. And he was trying to get people to sign the petition. And people signed the petition. Only a handful of people are like, what? No? Is this a joke? No. But the majority of the people that he talked to signed the petition because they thought it was real. Like, yeah, we should definitely arrest the unvaccinated. That's terrifying. Someone asked, did I hear anything about the whistleblower from Dominion? No, I have not followed that. I just don't find it all that interesting because it's not going to change who's in the White House right now. It's just not. It'd be nice if it changed the future. Like, if the right thing could happen, great. But I don't want to hear about it. I'm all action right now. I want to see it happen. We don't need any more whistleblowers. We all saw that all the information we needed came out the same week of the election. All those Project Veritas videos, all that testimony, all those people taking cell phone videos. We have all the information, but it didn't matter when the election was still going on. So it's like, yes, we got all these whistleblowers. We're doing all these audits in AZ. Cool, great. Who's in the White House? Okay. So then what did all that information come out for? Is it going to change the reality? If it is, I'm all ears. But if not, I mean, we got to figure out a way to shore up the election so that this does not happen again. And that includes voting in your local elections. I cannot overstate the importance of that enough. Vote in your local elections. That matter more than anything, because those are the people that oversee the elections in your city, your county, your state. I never knew that the first election that I would vote for in the state of Florida, the first time that I would vote Republican in my life, was for Ron DeSantis. That's the most important election I've ever voted in my life. To me, that was more important than voting in 2020, because what happens at your state level has a more direct impact on you than the federal level. And we see that right now because Ron DeSantis is a firewall against the tyranny coming out of DC. So that's the point I'm making, is local elections matter more than a national election ever will, because you're building a firewall around your freedom. And if you don't participate in your local elections, hyperlocal, city, county, state elections, from the city on up, if you don't vote for your mayor and city council, vote for your sheriff. If you don't vote for the right people, then that tyranny is going to crush you very closely. Imagine if the mayor of my city wanted to lock me down. Imagine, then that's more of a problem than Joe Biden just barking from the White House lawn. You get what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. It matters more to participate in your local elections. Who would you like to see as Trump's running mate for 2024? I think Rand Paul would be an excellent pick. Some people said they want Ron DeSantis to be his. Why? The vice president literally does nothing. Why do you want somebody that powerful, that much of a firebrand, to be a wingman? So I don't know. I think somebody like Rand Paul would be solid. Very solid. Otherwise, I guess it doesn't even really matter who the VP is, because who they would be debating is Kamala Harris, and she is brown Hillary in terms of insufferability. That is brown Hillary Clinton. She is so uniquely unlikable that you could get a little German Shepherd puppy to debate her and she would get crushed. All she would do is do that cringe, open mouth laugh that everybody hates, and she would lose. So it doesn't matter who his running mate would be. It really doesn't. But who I'd like to see? Probably someone like Rand Paul. Matter of fact, Rand Paul was actually my choice in 2016, even though I didn't even vote in. I don't think my vote even counted in 2016. This was before I knew anything about what Trump was about. I was just looking at the field and I'm like, Rand Paul makes a lot of sense. But anyway, DM said DeSantis can only run in 2022. Then he can't be our governor here in Florida. He can leave and come back like Christ is doing, but he can't be our governor after 2023. Wait, 2024? We need to come up with a great conservative to take his place. I don't know about that one. I think he needs to be governor until 2026, because if he gets reelected next year in 2022, then he could run through 2026. He would be governor through 2026, and then he could set himself up to run in 2028. That's just the way that I want it to be, because I don't want to chance it, DM. I don't want to chance the fact that the next person who comes behind DeSantis is some turncoat. It's very possible. Remember how strong everybody thought Greg Abbott was in Georgia? Remember when Greg Abbott got elected? He got Trump's endorsement, by the way. Trump campaigned for the guy. Look how that turned out. What's the guy's name? Yeah, Brian Kemp, that guy. How did that turn out? Brian Kemp was a solid dude up until he wasn't. I'm just saying. But Yeah, guys, I think I've said all I can really say, so I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this bad boy up. But I appreciate everybody for tuning in. We're at an hour exactly, so it's a good time to wrap. I'm just getting really, really hot in here. I forgot to turn on my AC and my fan and all that stuff. So everybody, before I wrap, please do me the biggest favor. Give this stream a thumbs up and share it on social media. Get it in front of some eyeballs so that people can see what's going on. Help me overcome these algorithms on YouTube by giving this stream a thumbs up. Like. As always, you guys are incredible. Thanks for the super chats. Thanks for the emails. Thanks for the moderators, everybody that tuned in today. God bless you guys. I'll catch you in the next stream. I'll be back tomorrow. You can believe that. I'll be back. Catch you guys later.